Want to know the secret of how the top 1% of all talent lands top tier jobs at six-figure salaries, even without applying? Okay, stay tuned because I'm going to tell you everything. Hi, I'm Lindsay Mustang. If we haven't actually met, it's nice to meet you virtually. And a little bit about my background. I spent 20 years in HR recruiting, was Amazon's most visible employee, had hired 10,343 people, and left to start my own business where I've now supported over 20,000 clients. In the last 2 years alone, we've done $24 million, not just 10 million, $24 million in pay increases for my dream clients. Okay. And so I'm coming to you today to talk to you about how these folks are getting job offers, even when it seems like the recession is happening and no one's hiring. Okay. So if I got you on the edge of your seat, awesome. And if you're watching me live, say hi in the comments. If you're on team replay, tell me that as well. Okay, so I want to talk about, what does 1% top talent look like? Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, top talent means that you are what we call in the industry a purple squirrel. All right, so what's a purple squirrel? It's kind of like a unicorn. And what that means is it's the perfect candidate where we would be so lucky to have you on board. And it's actually the backbone of how we build our recruiting processes at really elite recruiting organizations to hire people who don't actually come to us, okay? And so I want to talk to you about the very first rule that top 1% talent does, which is, the first one is, they don't behave like everyone else. Okay, so I'm going to just dismiss a couple things that are happening out there that people think are giving them momentum. Endlessly searching on YouTube on how to write a resume, downloading that free resume template or that resume builder, and then copy and pasting their job description into their resume, hoping it will keyword match and they will have success. Okay, so you are not 1% talent if that is actually how you're going about it. But don't worry, I've got you if you've ever been guilty of those sins. And guess what? Even when I was laid off in the Great Recession, I was able to learn some of those lessons. So don't take it too personally from me, because I learned it firsthand. I made all these mistakes on my own before learning how to create my own proprietary intentional career design system. Okay, so let me give you some of the things, some 5 operating procedures of how top talent is going to behave. Okay, first off, we're going to start with the resume. And here's why. The resume is your ticket to the job search game. You've got to have this right in order to make sure you get interviews. Okay, and so the first way is that they know that less is more. Okay, some people hang on to their, their resume like it is the complete autobiography of all of the things they've ever accomplished, and they keep adding to it for years and years, and it becomes 3, 4, sometimes 15 pages. Okay, first thing is top talent does is they know what's relevant and they keep it short. Okay, they keep it short and sweet. They only include what's relevant to what they want to do next. Let me say that again. It's not a tell-all book. They only include what they is relevant for what they do next. Okay. Second is they keep it clean. Okay, here's why. You've got 6 seconds. That's what research has shown us, is that recruiters look at a resume for 6 seconds. In fact, in my case, I reviewed over 1 million resumes and wrote the book on it. It's less than that for me. And so if you want to make sure you get into the yes pile, you've got to make sure that your resume is optimized, not for pretty templates, but for viewing time and readability. Okay, so there's very specific ways to optimize how recruiters review a resume. Okay, the second, or the third thing I should say here, is they show and they don't tell. This tends to be the biggest game changer. Okay, and so when I'm talking about showing is not, I led a meeting or I created this PowerPoint presentation, or I, whatever it was that was on your job description. It's probably one of the bullet points, not the thing that's going to be considered top talent. In fact, you were showing me you are a strategic or a tactical player rather than a strategic player. Strategic players are top talent. Okay, what is a strategic player? Well, they know why they are valuable. Okay, they know why they are valuable, and so they show their impact. They don't say, oh, I can do that. They show, hey, here's what I did, here's what I achieved, here's how I did it. Now we can definitely chat if that seems like it might be a match for your organization. Do you see how different that is versus, oh, pick me because I attended a meeting? It's not valuable that you attended that meeting. What did that meeting do? What was the outcome of that meeting? There's a lot of ways, in fact, infinite ways to turn tactics into strategic examples of your impact and scope. So if you're questioning about how to do that, don't worry, I've got you. Hang on here. The next thing is they know how to beat the bots. All right, so I talk about beating the bots, and what this really is, it comes down to a couple of things, is keyword matching for your next move. Now, a lot of people love to focus on what they've done in the past. Start looking towards the future. What is it that you actually want to do and build that? One of my she literally negotiating salary right now. She never even held this title, but what she wanted to do was she wanted to lead investor relations. Now, her background is all around investor management and dealing with really large, high net worth income individuals. And so while she didn't technically have the experience, they just made her an offer for the head of IR. Okay. So take a look at where you want to go and make sure you're optimized for that kind of opportunity. And then last is make sure you, what we call polish the diamond. You want to make sure that there's nothing on there. When I send your resume off as a recruiter, the hiring manager doesn't go, my gosh, instead of spelling manager, they spelled a manger. That will both spell check. You want to make sure that it's completely optimized. So these are the 5 rules of top talent when it comes to getting in the yes pile when it starts with your resume. Now, I'm coming to you today because let me tell you, I can tell you all these things, but even as somebody on this side of the table, I've hired like 50 resume writers in my business. And I can tell you, none of them, even though they were some of the best people in the world, were not that good at writing resume. And I'm sorry to those people out there, but they just weren't. They needed to be trained. And that is how I created my own high performance resume model. And what we're really looking for is something called the $1 million impact. And this is the secret, that 1% top talent. And so I am so excited to announce my 5-day resume challenge. All right. So my 5-day resume challenge is kicking off next week. And in this challenge, we are going to go through in 5 days, we're going to get your resume 6-figure worthy. And I know a lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing and hard. I promise you, you can do it in 5 hours if you follow my exact framework. So we're kicking off next week. So if you want somebody who's going to hold your hand, walk you through writing your resume, do it in the least amount of time and get you the results of how you can land a 6-figure job, this is the challenge for you. I've put the link here below, and I hope you will join me.